I have no idea how many years were taken off my life. Taken off my life after watching this series. Holy hell. Holy hell. Jesus. That final game in particular. The blown save by Craig Kimbrell, and I freaking hate seeing that for him. He did not deserve to get that blown save. But I guess at some point he was due for it. But it just sucks in that moment. And then freaking Hoffman comes in, can't throw a strike worth a damn. And then you get Junior Marte in. Bases loaded, 0 outs. And somehow, this dude gets 3 outs. Somehow. Without anything happening. I was sure as shit that either Jose Ramirez or Naylor were going to walk this game off with a grand slam. I was dead set on that. I was completely dead set on that. Holy hell. You gotta win. You salvage the series at least. But Jesus Christ, the offense. The offense, man. 2 games in this series where you should have won. You should have won yesterday, and you obviously should have won Friday. Yesterday was just Jesus. How many hits did you have yesterday? Like, what was it, like 2 hits? 3 hits? The offense was completely lifeless. Was nothing there for Zack Wheeler. Zack Wheeler was awesome yesterday. And then here comes the only run of the game off of Jose Ramirez on a fly ball that barely leaves the infield. And out of 3 players, no one calls the ball off, and it drops in between all 3 of them. Bryson Stott, Nick Castellanos, and Brandon Marsh. Of course, that's the way the run scores, and that's the only run that scores in the entire ball game yesterday. But holy shit. I thought we were going to get swept. I'm still not happy. This is just me breathing a goddamn sigh of relief that we won the game and we ended the 4-game losing streak. It's breathing a sigh of relief. Because if they got swept, holy fucking hell, I was going to scream more than I did Friday. And you guys know how mad I was on Friday. It would have been to a whole different level. I'm still pretty heated at this point, just because it's taking so long for the offense in all of these situations just to get hits. They finally broke through in that top of the 10th. At least finally. But it just takes too long. There's just so many opportunities with the bases loaded in this entire series where if you just go to the top of the first inning for this game, it's just the fact that you get bases loaded and the only reason you scored was because of a balk. Trey Turner grounds into a double play after the starting pitcher for the Guardians could not throw a strike that entire top of the first inning. Could not throw a single strike, and you scored 1 run. That's how bad it was. That's how bad the offense was going, to where you need to rely on a balk. And it was very close, too. It was a very close situation. But it was a balk. Heard the umpire scream it. Run scores because of it. But it's just, holy hell. Offense needs to really get out of this goddamn funk that they're in. And it's been like this all year. They have their peaks and valleys. The peaks are very fun. The valleys are super dreadful. My God. Dave Dombrowski needs to make a big splash at the deadline this year to get another bat. Because the reason why you should do it is, 1, because this lineup desperately needs another power bat in this lineup and another guy that can hit with runners in scoring position. That is desperately needed. But also, you don't have to worry about first base anymore because Bryce Harper has proven in Friday and today that he is an everyday first baseman in this league. He can play first base because, holy shit, he was flat out fantastic at first base. From what he did on Friday, the plays that he made, jumping into the goddamn camera well in the dugout to record an out in foul territory, to today, just, making the simple plays, reading the ball well. There was one of the players tried a bunt attempt from the Guardians. He let Stott get to the ball, and he ran right over the first base to get the out in time. making a nice catch on a sharp line drive right to him to get a double play. Bryce just looks calm and collective right now at first base. And that is, his defense, his glove looks good. It looks good at first base. So you should not have to be worried about getting another first baseman. He looks completely fine at first base. You have to go and get an outfielder now. You have to go and get another outfielder. At this point, I don't care if it's a righty. I don't care if it's a lefty. Just get another goddamn hitter that can hit the ball out of the ballpark and also possibly hit with runners in scoring position, because that is desperately needed for this team. Because before today's game, and they showed this on the broadcast. They showed this on the broadcast before today's game. So during the 4-game losing streak, the Phillies scored 8 runs. They allowed 16, so it's not the pitching that was being bad. It's flat out the offense. The average was 152, below the Mendoza line. Is that below the Mendoza line or something like that? I don't remember what the Mendoza line is off the top of my head. The OPS is dreadful. An OPS of 488. So they're not getting on base, and they're not slugging the ball at all. It's... that just really should. They had 3 home runs during this 4-game losing streak. 2 of those came on Friday. And then 6 extra base hits, 42 strikeouts, 2 for 20 with runners in scoring position in total, and then 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position with 2 outs. And then 2 games in this losing streak, you got shut out. Yesterday, in the game on Thursday against Corbin Burns. You need something. You need something to spark this lineup. Maybe today's the day. Maybe they go on a little bit of a run here offensively. Maybe they woke their bats up for the next few games. Because you got a very tough series upcoming, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday against the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles, they're one of the best teams in the American League. They have a flat-out fantastic offense. They're a very young team, but their starting rotation is definitely very sketchy. That's the one thing that you could probably knock the Orioles for. They got an elite back end of the bullpen now. So they got an elite back end of the bullpen and a fantastic lineup full of young talent. Your bats really need to show up this series, because if I'm calling it off the top of my head, it's going to be Christopher Sanchez, Taijuan Walker, and Ranger Suarez for this series against Baltimore. You really need your bats to show up this week. Really need them for this series. You really need it if you're going to try to win a series at home against a very tough opponent. And the Baltimore Orioles, they're coming off of a series against the Tampa Bay Rays, so maybe they don't take you as lightly, after coming off of a division rival that they're fighting for first place for. So that's definitely something. Like, really, the only thing that is to your benefit with this losing skid is that every other team in the wild card standings that you're fighting with are losing games. The Marlins, they just snapped their losing streak today, beating the Rockies. The Giants, they actually just got swept by the Nationals. The Diamondbacks, I believe they just got swept by the Reds. So if you're looking at the wild card standings right now, I'm actually going to tell them that to you right now. The Phillies, they're only a game behind of the first wild card spot. A game behind. They're a half game behind the second and the third, because San Fran has lost 5 in a row. The Diamondbacks have lost 4 in a row. So right now, the teams that are around you are losing. It just sucks that you're not taking advantage of it. That's the one thing that's really frustrating to me. But to your benefit, no one's been taking advantage of you losing either. The Marlins just snapped their skid. Like I said, they're 2-8 in their last 10. You just snapped your skid. San Fran's still losing. Arizona's still losing. For Miami, their schedule only gets tougher from here. San Francisco, I'm not sure who they play next after Washington. They just got swept by them. So they play Detroit next. So that's definitely going to be interesting on that perspective. And for them against Detroit, what are they doing? A double? No, it's just 1 game against Detroit. Oh, that's weird. I guess that's a makeup game from the looks of it. 1 game against Detroit, 2 games against Oakland, and 3 games against Boston. So that's a weird schedule there. Definitely a very weird schedule. And for the Miami Marlins, who do they play? Because I know we play them upcoming after in like a week or so. Marlins play Tampa Bay. They play Tampa Bay and Detroit next before they face you. So definitely. Got to take advantage of the games that you can. What does Orioles series is going to be very tough. Very, very tough. Looking at the pitching matchups, like I said, Christopher Sanchez is going up against Dean Kremer. He is 10-4 with a 4.80 ERA. They're winning games for him, but his ERA is not good. In his last couple of starts, he has a 5 earned runs against the Dodgers, 1 earned run against the Marlins, 1 earned run against the Yankees, 7 earned runs against the Twins, 3 earned runs against the Mariners. So this guy can get hit around. Got to take advantage of it. The second game, Kyle Gibson. You better beat fucking Kyle Gibson. 9-6 with a 4.76 ERA. Looking at his last so many games, 3 earned runs, 5 earned runs, 2 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 6 earned runs. You got to beat Kyle Gibson. You got to beat Kyle Gibson. And then it's going to be Kyle Bradish on the mound. He is 6-5 with a 3.05 ERA. You got to beat him. You got to beat this starting rotation. It's their weakest point on the team. The Baltimore Orioles, that is. You got to beat them. You got to beat them. There's no excuses there. You need to. You must to. Must to. That doesn't even make sense. But you gotta. You gotta beat this team. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's one thing I never brought up. Aaron Nola today. Of course, in Aaron Nola fashion, he allows a leadoff home run after the Phillies took a 1-0 lead. Allowed a couple of home runs in this game. But he settled down. He barred down after getting into a couple of situations. And he managed to go 7 innings. 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. No walks, which is very good. 85 pitches. I just need more consistency from Nola. But he showed today that he was able to settle down. And the defense really didn't help him either, too. But he managed to settle down and get out of situations, and he kept you in the game. That's the most important thing in there from Nola. Soto comes in, he walks one guy, but he manages to get out of that jam after, not finding the strike zone coming out of the bullpen. Craig Kimbrell, sadly, gives up the home run after, getting a huge double play. Sadly, that was the case. I guess you could just say Kimbrell was due because he hasn't blown a save all year. I guess it was due, but sadly, this was the case. I really can't blame Kimbrell after how amazing he has been. But again, with 2 outs, you can't be allowing a home run. That's just it. That's just it. Hoffman looked absolutely terrible in the 10th. Could not find the strike zone at all. 2 walks. Did not record a single out. 15 pitches. Marte comes in and gets the next 3 guys out. Surprisingly. Very surprisingly. Offensively, you had 9 hits today. Kyle Schwarber 1 for 4 with an RBI. Trey Turner 2 for 4. Bryce Harper 1 for 2 with 2 RBI and a walk. Nick Castellanos, he's in a dreadful slump right now since the All-Star break. 1 for 5 for him. His average is down to 282. Bryson Stott, he went 0 for 4, but he had 4 walks today. Bryson Stott walked 4 times. Fantastic day at the plate for Bryson Stott. JT Realmuto 1 for 4 with an RBI. Alec Boehm 1 for 5 with 2 RBIs in the top of the 10th inning. Brandon Marsh 2 for 5 with an RBI, and Jake Cave, the Golden Sombrero, 4 strikeouts, 0 for 4. Yeah, as we all know, Jake Cave is not the answer. He definitely is not the answer. Is not the answer. Phillies, they were 4 for 11 with runners in scoring position, left 7 runners stranded, and yeah, there's really not much to talk about yesterday's game. Because yesterday was a 1-0 shutout. Bats didn't do anything. Like I said, I believe they got 2 hits yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they got 2 hits yesterday. So nothing was really going for you. There also was a situation with Aaron Nola. The trainer came out for a little bit. It looked like he slipped on the rubber of the mound. Like he did not look comfortable with the mound at all there. But like I said, he found a way to dial it down and we'll dial it up and get through the game. So maybe we'll find out something more if Nola is injured or if it was just, like an annoyance type of thing. But I don't think there's really anything there in regards to Nola. But yeah, gotta go and win. Gotta go and beat the Orioles this week. You gotta. Not saying it's a mandatory sweep. You gotta win the series. That's what you gotta do. What you got to do. It's annoying. It's annoying. It is. I just want this offense to be fairly consistent. It really hasn't been. But so far, in like basically since the Marlins series before the All-Star break, this team has been very streaky. So 3 losses in a row, two losses in a row going into the All-Star break. Then you lost the game coming out of the All-Star break to the Padres, so that's 3 losses in a row there. Then you won 4 straight, 3 against the Padres and 1 against the Brewers. Then you lost 4 straight, and now you won again. So we're going on another winning streak. Is it just going to be one of these type of things where you're winning 4, losing 4, winning 5, losing 3? Is it this type of thing? I hope it isn't. I would like to be more consistent in the win column. That would be very nice if that was the case. Gotta get more consistent. That's the bottom line. You need to be more consistent with the bats, with the pitching, with the bullpen. And the bullpen will get better when Sir Anthony and Jose Alvarado come back and whatever Dave Dombrowski does with the trade deadline. Because you definitely know he's going to be adding another back-end guy to the bullpen. And honestly, this is also something that I'm thinking of. Why not just what if Dave Dombrowski does go and gets an extra starter and you do a 6-man rotation? How would people feel about that? It gives Nola and Wheeler the extra rest that they will need going into the, the big push for the playoffs. And if you do get into the playoffs, a 6-man rotation, even though you wouldn't be using a 6-man rotation in the playoffs, I'm just saying, the 6-man rotation would help Nola and Wheeler get that extra rest. You'll get Nola coming, over his next starts on an extra days of rest where he's, technically better with an extra day of rest. Wheeler gets his arm more rest and all that stuff. Same thing, Ranger Suarez, he'll get an extra day of rest. With him, that might be important since he didn't have a full spring training. Maybe for Taijuan Walker it would be important. That's just some things to think about. I wouldn't doubt Dave Dombrowski if he goes and gets another, back-end rotation piece. I wouldn't doubt that. But who knows? But a bat is very important. You got to go and get a bat. Cody Bellinger is the name that's been circling around from a lot of people. Like I said, I don't care at this point anymore if it's a righty or a lefty. Just go and get another bat that can fit into this lineup and can do damage. If Cody Bellinger is that guy, he's that guy. It doesn't matter to me anymore. You just need more. You need way more. A guy that can be consistent, a guy that can hit for power, and a guy that can, drive in runs. That's really important. Just need something. That's the thing. Because you can't constantly rely on Bryson Stott, Alec Bowman, Brandon Marsh to constantly do the damage. It's really just because of the top guys in the lineup. Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Castellanos, JT. It's what those guys need to get going consistently. And it's not like Bryce Harper has been bad. It's just, his lack of power. I thought he would go nuclear with the home runs after he finally got that one off his chest. But maybe it's going to take a little more time. But we need something from Bryce. We need Kyle Schwarber to be more consistent with the homers. Trey Turner, Jesus Christ. I don't even know at this point with him. Just, he shows glimpses of what he can be, but then he just reverts right back to the frustrating Trey Turner. I just don't get it. And then, Nick Castellanos now is struggling. Hopefully he finds a way out of this slump because he is really slumping right now. He needs to find, maybe get him a day off of his feet just to make him reset or something. Because he definitely needs a reset. Maybe you put Rojas in the lineup one day and you put Marsh out there in right field. Or you do a lineup where Castellanos isn't in it and you have an outfield of, Rojas, Marsh, and Cave, and Schwarber DHs. So who knows? Who knows? Just need more. That's all. I need more. I need more. I'm trying to see if there's, anything else. I'm not sure when Dave Dombrowski would pull the trigger on a trade, because if you're just looking at the upcoming schedule before the trade deadline is August 1st. That is what? Little over a week before that happens. And the Phillies, they only have, I believe, from now till the trade deadline, I believe they only have one day off. And that's this upcoming Thursday. So I'm not sure when Dave Dombrowski would pull the trigger on a trade. Would he do it during this Orioles series since they're home? Because they go on the road during the trade deadline period because they got a weekend series this upcoming weekend in Pittsburgh, and then the week of the trade deadline they have a 4-game series in Miami. So would Dave Dombrowski pull the trade deadline trigger a little bit earlier and do it during this Baltimore series just so the person they trade for has time to get acclimated in Philadelphia and get acclimated with the team? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. So, just got to figure it out. Got to figure it out. Got to figure it out. That's the most important thing. I still think it's just the problem that just this team's ceiling. We all know what their ceiling is. It's just the most frustrating part is their ceiling would be reached if the guys they paid to hit are hitting consistently. They would be at that ceiling because what I see, this team could be a really good team. They could be one of the top teams in baseball if the guys they paid to hit the ball. That's my one issue. And I found the stat earlier today. I believe it was before today's game. Wasn't that one? That's about Trey Turner and Freddie Galvis again. Here we go. This is from the Good Fight. Brandon Marsh is the only player on the Phillies with an OPS over 800. His OPS is 807. The rest of the Phillies' top 5, the guys that they pay. Kyle Schwarber has an OPS of 744. Trey Turner has an OPS of 685. Nick Castellanos 792. Bryce Harper 791 and JT Realmuto 764. Those guys are getting paid an approximate $117 million this season. The guys they're paying to hit simply aren't. It's those 3 guys. No, not 3 guys, those 5. Because Bryson Stott, Alec Bohm, and Brandon Marsh have been consistent all year. Those 5 haven't. Well, maybe besides Castellanos, but he's in a major slump right now. But those 5, Schwarber, Turner, Castellanos, Harper, and JT. If those guys get going in a collective bunch, this team can be unstoppable. But they haven't been doing that all year. And we need them to. If this team wants to reach their peak, wants to reach their ceiling, their potential, those 5 guys need to start hitting. Kyle Schwarber needs to hit home runs consistently. Same thing with Bryce Harper. Trey Turner needs to be the Trey Turner that we know he can be. And JT Realmuto needs to, be the best catcher in baseball. And we know these guys have it in them. They just haven't done it all year. That's the issue. Schwarber hasn't done it all year consistently, even though he still leads the team in home runs and he still tops in the National League in home runs. It's just very, high peaks and valleys. Turner has been terrible all year. Castellanos was amazing in the first half, and now he's struggling to start the second half. Bryce Harper, we all know, coming back from Tommy John surgery. Maybe this is just a downside of, him trying to get into a rhythm. And JT's just been, I don't know. That's just the thing for me. Where? No, that's player. That is player. Because I want to look at team stats. There we go. Team stats. I go to OPS. Oh, David, I've never said the team is terrible at OPS. It's just that it's not what they could be. That's what I'm saying. Right now, the Phillies team OPS is 737, which is 12th in all of baseball. Teams that are below them are the San Diego Padres, the Cubs, the Astros, the Twins, the Marlins. The Mets are 20th in OPS. The Yankees are 22nd. The Guardians are 24th. The Brewers are 27th. Looking at the top teams in baseball, the Braves, of course, are the best team with the best OPS. The Rangers are 2nd. The Dodgers are 3rd. The Angels are 4th. The Rays are 5th. The Red Sox are 6th. The Cardinals are 7th, but they're in last place. Jesus Christ, that's just their pitching. The Diamondbacks are 8th. The Blue Jays are 9th. The Reds are 10th. The Orioles are 11th. Like I said, if it's just from Schwarber, even though Schwarber's not going to be the highest OPS guy, it's mainly, Harper, JT, Trey Turner. if those guys were just going all at once, this team could be like at least the top 7 OPS in baseball. And yeah, they're still in a playoff spot, and it's just I know what they can be if they're better. That's my issue, and that's why I'm so hard on this team, because I know what they can be, and they're just underperforming. And granted, they're still in the playoff spot. It's just like we know this team can be better, and when they go on when they go on stretches like this, it freaking eats my heart out. That's my issue. We do have a voicemail here on the Anytime Hotline. You can leave those at 215-839-9885. Your thoughts and opinions on everything. Let's go to Sean. Let's see what he thinks. Sean, what do you got?
Unreal. That's the type of game that puts another 20 to 30 years on your life or takes it off your life, whatever you prefer. Whatever Junior Marte wants for dinner tonight, treat the guy, buy him drinks, send him out for a night on the town because he earned his money to be definite MVP of the game. I feel bad for Craig Kimbrell. I mean, you knew he was going to give one up sooner or later. It's a shame that it had to be today, but this was a stop the bleeding game. This was a game you had to have if you were the Phillies. And you have to carry that win on to Pittsburgh and tack on another couple wins. Now you're facing a National League team that you're familiar with that's fading out of contention in their division. You got to take advantage of it. There'll be plenty of Phillies fans there in their park. But again, a win you had to have. You pick up a game on San Francisco. I think the Marlins are going to win. I don't know what's going on with Arizona and the Reds, but again, you had to stop the bleeding. It was ugly, but you got it done.
Oh, I agree with that, Sean. No doubt. I think you forgot to mention they do play the Orioles in between the Pirates, so they're
unreal.
My bad there, but yeah, they play the Orioles Monday to Wednesday. Then they have the off day this Thursday. Then this weekend upcoming, they play the Pirates. So they got to play the Orioles at home first there, Sean. But still, yeah, Marte was huge. It definitely sucks for Craig Kimbrell. I feel bad for him, just because even though like just with the way this game was going, just because of all the unorthodox crap that happened. Like even one of the Phillies runs came on like a karma type of thing from the Guardians, where they couldn't catch a fly ball that went up into the infield. But it's just like the balk, the weird way the run scored, and all of that. I just had this feeling deep down that this game was not over in the 9th inning. Like something was just going to happen. And like Craig Kimbrell was going to, blow a save just because he hasn't pitched in so many days and all that. Like, not just for the fault of Craig Kimbrell. It's just, this was the way the game was going. This was just the feeling of the game and all that. It sucks for him. It does. He doesn't deserve it. Doesn't deserve it. Jesus. Jesus. This team. Hey. Let me get to you guys in the live feed here before we end it off. We win a very huge game, but this was just trying to get on my final nerve. I need a trade tomorrow before we face the Orioles at home. Orioles are super tough. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a tough series. You should be able to hit their pitching now. Specifically, their starting rotation. You should be able to do that. Our bats need to come up, and our pitching needs to come up clutch, especially since you don't have Wheeler and Nola in this series. I need Christopher Sanchez to show up, Taijuan Walker, Ranger Suarez. I need those guys. Like Ringo Starr said, it don't come easy. Trade Hoff. I don't even know. Like, Hoffman's weird. Like, he comes in last week against the Padres, gets 2 huge shutdown innings and extras, and then he comes into today and extras and can't throw a strike. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Oh, Corey. Yeah, you can't blame Kimbrell at all. Of course, Corey comes in here saying can't trust Kimbrell, blah, blah, blah. Of course, Corey comes in and says that. Do you think the Phillies will now start making trades? They should be. You're a week away from the trade deadline. As of Tuesday, you'll be a week away. Yep, a win is a win no matter what. Another home run for Bellinger today. Well, that's just upping his trade value. Definitely just upping his trade value. I wouldn't pull trades today since it is the Hall of Fame and let those guys have their day. I don't see. Trades will happen probably closer towards the end of the week, I would say, in bulk for Major League Baseball, but I'm sure you'll start seeing trades at the beginning of the week. Most likely. Most likely. We needed St. Louis to lose, but for the Cubs, it may not want to trade Bellinger. That's the downside. Well, for the Cubs right now, they're 48 and 51. They have a positive run differential. They're the only team in the NL Central with a positive run differential, yet they're 3 games below 500. It does not make sense. They're 6.5 games out of first place in the Central. In terms of the wild card, they're 5.5 out of the wild card. So what do you do there if you're Chicago? I think Chicago sells again. Like trade off some of their rental pieces for higher assets. That's probably what Chicago's going to do. I thought Chicago was going to be better this year. I guess not. Because Bellinger's a rental. Stroman's contract is expiring after this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if those guys get traded. Would not be shocked. Angels might not trade Ohtani out. Yeah, I don't see. Unless the Angels get completely blown away in a trade, I do not see them trading Ohtani at this point because their owner is stupid. They're 4 games out of a wild card spot in terms of the AL West. They're not catching the AL West. They're 8.5 back there. They're a game above 500. And the Athletics, they're 28 and 73. Jesus Christ. I think the Yankees were interested in Grichuk from Colorado. Probably cheaper than Bellinger. Yeah, we do got 3 versus Baltimore next. We really have to worry about the Marlins series coming up. We have to sweep them. I'm not even saying sweeping them, just win the series. At least we got the home advantage, Corey. Gunnar Henderson is a stud. Oh, yeah, Baltimore has so many studs on their team. Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, their guys in the bullpen. Batista, he's a stud. Like their setup guy and their closer. Studs. That team is just full of studs. And they still got so much stuff in the prospect pool that they're waiting to call up still. Who did they draft last year? Wasn't it Jackson Holiday, Matt Holiday's son? I believe that was it. He's going to be a stud whenever he gets called up. So, yeah, they got a lot of very bright future. Is their ownership going to be willing to spend now to put them over the top? That remains to be seen. That really remains to be seen. Their ownership is very cheap. We better beat Kyle Gibson now. I swear to God, if Kyle Gibson throws at least 3 shutout innings against us, I'm going to blow a gasket. It's fucking Kyle Gibson. Harper needs a full year at first base before I can say keep him there full time. Oh, I'm seeing him keep him there full time already. No, I've seen enough. He's a first baseman. Wouldn't mind another starter. Syndergaard was kind of like a 6th starter last year. Yeah, I definitely can see Dave Dombrowski going after another starter. It would be sweet if we could swing a deal for Stroman and Bellinger. If that's possible, that's what Dave Dombrowski is going to go after. Gabriel Hart, are you just going to come in here and say I look like Matt Walsh or something like that? I feel like that's the 2nd time you've done that already, and I remember the first time you said it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I can't judge. I cannot judge. Well, I think that's going to do it for tonight, everybody. Phillies going to win. They salvage the series. That's the most important thing. Most important thing there. So, I thank you all for joining the streams as always. Don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to leave a comment as well. Don't forget to check out everything in the description down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are so close to 800 subscribers. The last time I saw, we were on 799. So definitely hit that subscribe button. It will do me a great deal of service. 799 subscribers. I just checked it. Let's get us there. Then once we surpass the 800 subs, it's only closer and closer to 1,000. So let's get us there. Also use the code TTPSPORTS. $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek if you want to go to a Phillies versus Orioles games this week. Why not? Go check it out. Maybe people from Baltimore would want to. If people from Baltimore are watching this, use the code. Go see your Baltimore Orioles at Citizens Bank Park. Why not? And also, yeah, that'll do it. Thank you.